Testing. Is this working? Is anybody here at all? Testing, testing, testing. Waiting until someone shows up so I know it works. All right, I'm just going to assume it's working at this point. Hey guys, what's up? It's Dean. Welcome to Manful Yoga. Welcome to this Facebook Live broadcast. If you're watching this later on Facebook or on YouTube, welcome to you as well. So, for the past few days, I've been doing a Why Should Men Do Yoga series. Hey George, welcome. So the past few days, I've been doing a Why Should Men Do Yoga series. And the reason for this is I want to talk about the most common questions that I get when people ask me about whether or not they should do yoga and what can they get out of it. Maybe there's common misconceptions that they want to overcome first. So we've been talking about yoga and testosterone. We've been talking about yoga and sex. We've talked about typical results you can expect from doing yoga for 1 to 2 weeks or 2 months. That was what we did yesterday. For any of these videos, you can go back to my Facebook page, facebook.com/manfulyoga, or you could go to, I just saw a spider run over my foot, or you could go to youtube.com/manfulyoga and watch them there as well. So in today's workout, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what makes yoga different from other workouts. So, obviously there's tons of different forms of fitness to choose from. And with online being a reality and you being able to do workouts by watching them on YouTube, by watching them on your computer, that makes the possibility for fitness even higher, right? So we can do stuff without any equipment. We can do stuff with lots of equipment. We have weight rooms with tons of different exercise equipment. You can go running. Yoga for girls, LOL, no. You can go running, you can do CrossFit. There's tons of different things that you can do to stay in shape. And so, why out of all these different things, why would you consider doing yoga? And one of the main reasons that I promote yoga and that this is my life, this is what I teach, this is what I sell, is because yoga has unique movements that are not found in other types of exercise. So there are things that I get out of my yoga workout that I'm not going to get from my other workouts. And so I'm going to go through those things right now. And I actually haven't written or prepared anything for this, so I'm just going to totally wing this. But the number one reason why yoga is important and because it's different from other workouts is because of the balance aspects. So I was a lacrosse player in college. I've worked out my entire life. And one thing that I hadn't done until I started doing yoga was focused balance work. So I never spent 30 seconds or 45 seconds or 60 seconds actually standing on one foot in a particular posture, in a particular movement. That was just something that was totally absent from my other workouts. I did stuff like single leg hops and some stabilization exercises, like jumping from one side, so kind of a ski jumper exercise, jumping from one leg to the other. But as far as holding a static posture or static exercise for 30, 45, or even 60 seconds, that was something that I've never done until I encountered yoga. And the reason why that's so important is because it helps to develop body awareness. It helps to improve mobility and flexibility while improving your balance. It helps to improve strength. It's huge for helping to decrease injury. So there's a lot of things that you get out of just that balance work alone that makes yoga worth doing on your own. So other things I want to go through. Somebody just commented pelvic floor activation for the prostate. So basically lower core engagement. The thing is you're going to get a lot of that in other exercise too. So I also want to kind of go through and say what yoga is unique for and also what it does have and what's really good about that, but also what lots of other exercise has as well. So, if you're doing heavy squats or you're doing a deadlift and you're doing it with proper form and you have enough mobility to do it, you're going to activate your pelvic floor. There's no way you're not going to activate it. if you have proper technique and proper mobility. But a lot of people don't have that proper muscle engagement or that proper body awareness or the mobility to be able to activate that. So that's where yoga comes in as helping to set people up. So that's where yoga comes in and helping to help people build foundational strength required to do all these other exercises. So again, number one reason for why yoga is different from other workouts and why it's important, why it's good for you, is the balance aspect. And then number two, what we're going to talk about is flexibility. And flexibility is something that I have never, ever, 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 ever worked on until I started doing yoga. And so flexibility is important because with flexibility, we have more range of motion. We have the ability to generate more power in shots, in lunges, and throwing, because we have more range of motion, right? If we think of the formula, force equals mass times distance, or is that even the formula? But if we think of, let me think about that for a minute. Force equals mass times distance, or distance equals force times mass. Whatever the formula is, excuse my lack of physics, but if we have more distance involved in our movement, we can generate more force, we can generate more overall power. So flexibility is important because of that reason, but also because it helps to improve your rate of recovery. So you speed up your recovery when you have more flexibility. The soft tissue is also is used to stretching more. So when you get into positions that would normally strain the muscle or cause a muscle tear, then you're not going to have the risk of injury is lower because you have more supple muscle tissue. So soft tissue injuries like ankle sprains or knee strain or ligament tears, ligament strains, quadricep tears, hamstring pulls don't happen as much because that soft tissue, that muscle tissue in those muscles is more supple, it's longer, it's used to getting into those extended positions, so that when they do happen, either by accident or because you're attempting to do something extraordinary, then your body's already ready for it. So you're going to have, because of that flexibility, you're going to have a significantly decreased risk of injury. So flexibility is a huge part. One other thing I want to talk about is the body awareness and the body awareness and the attention to detail in your body. So when you are doing yoga and you're not moving, let's say you're doing a static posture and you're not jumping up and down, you're not running, you're not doing bodyweight squats where you're going just over and over again, sitting up and down, you're developing body awareness. So you're checking in with your body, you're developing the ability to kind of talk with your body a little bit more. So you can really tune in with particular areas of a muscle. So let's say, you have poor lower abdominal engagement, but when you're doing yoga and you're staying in one posture and you're not moving, that allows you to focus on the muscles and on the body a little bit more because you're not focused on the movement. You're allowed to focus on the particular muscle areas themselves. And so that helps develop body awareness, and that's going to help you decrease, not only decrease your risk of injury, but it's also going to help you use more muscle in yoga, but also in any of the other exercises that you're doing or any of the other workouts that you're doing. So that attention to body awareness helps you get stronger, it helps you activate more muscle, it helps you engage more muscle fibers, and that's going to make you stronger in all of your other workouts. So that body awareness, that's something that I've never experienced, again, in all those other different workouts that I've done. Very rarely do you slow down to the point that you can actually check in with your body and start to listen to it and start to develop body awareness. So that body awareness is extremely important. We can also refer to that body awareness as one aspect of mobility, and one aspect of mobility is having the neuromuscular control, just to be able to match just having the neuromuscular control to be able to say, hey, brain, talk to the hip flexor, or hey, brain, talk to the glute. And you can say, okay, engage glute, right? Squeeze. And then I know what that feels like because I'm focusing on the body awareness. So yeah, we've got some comments in here talking about body-mind connection, neuromuscular. Again, we could talk about we could talk about in terms of mobility, whatever you want to call it. The point is that you're developing better body control. So that's one huge thing that I would talk about when it comes to yoga and what makes it different from other workouts. I'm not going to dive into the spiritual aspects or the life advice aspects because that's not my show. That's not what I talk about here. But one other reason why yoga is totally different is because of that inclusion of the philosophy or of the life guidance or of spirituality, whatever you want to call it. So some people like to incorporate that into yoga. I don't. That's not my thing. But I appreciate it, and I understand why people like to do it. But again, that's just not what I do. So I'm not going to brush on that at all here. So we've talked about balance. We've talked about flexibility. We've talked about body awareness. Number 4, let's see here. We've talked about, again, the balance aspect, so important for injury prevention. The flexibility, also incredibly important for injury prevention. Helps to improve your power, helps to make you stronger. Helps to recover more quickly. The body awareness aspect helps you develop more neuromuscular control. Helps you increase your motor control. It helps you increase your mobility, which is neurocontrol is one aspect of, neurocontrol is one aspect of that. Motor control is one aspect of mobility. Number 4 is the attention to breathing. So you're not going to focus on breathing as much or really at all when it comes to other types of fitness. You just don't spend that much time focusing on your breath when it comes to other types of exercise. So maybe when you're doing weightlifting, you might learn, or you might have someone instruct you, okay, you want to exhale as you push, right? So big inhale as you bring the bar down, and then exhale, drive it through, and really push on the exhale. But apart from that, you're not going to, Lester, get out. That's not true. Yoga without spiritual dimension is not just stretching, because you're actually doing bodyweight exercise. So again, kindly leave. So breathing. Breathing is one aspect of yoga that you're not going to encounter in other types of fitness. So because we're focusing on our breathing, we're also helping to work on relaxing the body, to work on controlling the body a little bit more. And when you're working on your breathing, you're also improving your cardiovascular ability. Not so much cardiovascular in terms of high energy. No, I don't need to look into it more. And let me just take this brief time to rant about spiritual yogis who impose their views on other people. Because you can do whatever you want. If you want to do yoga and you don't want to do spirituality, you don't need to. So, yes, I've all looked into it. It's not my thing. I'm an athlete. I'm into physical fitness. I work on spirituality and all my other stuff on my own time. I don't blend the two. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. I'm not going to prevent you from doing it. I'm not going to come onto your Facebook page and yell at you and say, hey, yoga is not just spiritual. You're doing it wrong. So F you. Do what you want. I'm going to do what I want over here because I'm helping thousands of people get into better shape every day. I don't know what you're doing, but this is what I'm doing. Sorry, brief rant over. So breathing is going to help you have better control of your body. It's going to help you release muscle tension. It's going to help you with releasing muscle tension. It's going to help you relax more. It's going to help you when you get into situations where you are tense. It's going to help you relieve stress. It helps you sleep better. So there's tons of applications for breathing that you're going to get out of doing yoga that you're not going to get from other things, just because there's not as much focus on the breathing aspect in that. So other things we talked about. Yes, that was my microphone. So we talked about, how's this work? Brief technical difficulties while I position this again. Maybe a yoga block wasn't the best idea for this. It appears not to be. put this on the table instead. All right, cool. We're back. So, we talked a lot about how all these other things, how body awareness helps to improve your performance, how flexibility and balance helps to improve your how flexibility and balance helps to decrease injury, how it also helps to make you recover more quickly and your muscles in different ways. Um, One other aspect is the posture focus. And so this is something that I hear from people who send me, people who do my workout program, so like Guy Yoga, people who do challenges or Guy Yoga, or they're doing workouts in the members area, um, and they learn about, and they're going through the workouts, doing them on an almost daily basis. And one thing that I hear a lot of is that posture is one thing that is really affected by doing yoga on a regular basis, particularly in doing, and I can't speak to other types of yoga, but I can speak to the, type of the yoga that I promote and the type of yoga that I do and that I teach, which is manful yoga, which is really focused on technique, and focused on body awareness and muscle engagement. So one thing that people notice is the increased attention to posture. So when you spend so much time in your exercise working on posture, that tends to carry over into your daily movement patterns. So you'll notice when you're standing in line somewhere, or when you're driving, or when you're sitting at your desk, you're going to have better posture just because you're paying attention to it more. So you start to draw back the shoulders, you stand up tall, you push the top of the head toward the ceiling, right? So you're just doing things that help to have better posture because you're actually practicing it when you're working out. So the posture is one other thing that I get, is one other thing that a ton of people talk about when it comes to yoga and what it does and how it's different from other types of fitness. In fact, posture is actually ranked higher in terms of the 21-day challenges that I do. So just 3 weeks of working out 5 times a week, usually workouts 20 to 30 minutes long. The number one improvement that I see isn't actually flexibility or mobility or balance, or weight loss or muscle gain. It's actually posture. Posture is consistently the thing that is most talked about when it comes to people who do my programs. And obviously they do notice modest increases in flexibility and strength and muscle tone and weight loss in those 21 days, but they do notice excellent changes in terms of their posture, in terms of their postural awareness as a result of doing yoga. And again, this is for my workouts. I can't speak to other yoga workouts, but I'm assuming that it could also carry over to other yoga workouts as well. So the posture aspect is something that that is really big, and that people notice a ton when it comes to doing yoga and the benefits that you notice. So we've talked about balance so far, the flexibility. We've talked about body awareness, breathing, posture. Some other things that I want to talk about is the attention to back bending, because again, just in my other workouts that I've done, there's very little focus on the back bending when it comes to other exercises. So and I'll get up and demo what I'm talking about here, but there are very few workouts that I've seen before doing yoga that actually emphasize holding a back bend. So this is what I'm talking about when I say a back bend. I mean a standing back bend. So something just as simple as that is incredibly helpful for strengthening the core, for strengthening the spine, and it's something that we very rarely do, especially if we're sitting a lot. Even if we're doing weightlifting, if we're doing other types of exercises, people just don't do a standing back bend at all. And it's something that's incredibly helpful for correcting, for kind of balancing out posture, and also for helping to strengthen and mobilize and increase the mobility in your spine. So back bending is something that I didn't really do. There were exercises that I did, like a Superman hold, so lying on your chest and lifting up your arms and your legs and holding it. Um, but the sheer volume of attention to back bending that I found in yoga, and this is when I did Bikram yoga. I did a lot of Bikram yoga when I first started. I did about 2 months of Bikram yoga, and I think it was I don't like the approach for a lot of reasons, which I won't get into today. But one thing I did like is how many back bends they had, and it really helped me get a lot stronger. So the back bending is something that I haven't encountered in other workouts, and it's something that's incredibly helpful for making you stronger and more injury resilient, particularly in the spine. So the back bending aspect of it is something else. And then lastly, because we could go on and on about this all day, but I do need to end at some point. So lastly, I'll talk about the emphasis on restorative stretching, because we all know how to stretch, but very few of us actually do stretching. And I actually recently learned that professional athletes spend just as much time on their recovery as they do on the workouts themselves. So that means that if a baseball player spends an hour lifting weights, for every hour they spend lifting weights or batting practice or whatever it is, they're going to spend an hour on stretching, on ice baths, on cryogenics, cryotherapy. So whatever, anyways, the point is there's a 1-to-1 ratio for exercise to recovery work. So one thing that I get out of yoga that I haven't experienced in other types of fitness is that aspect on the restorative stretching. So actually just taking the time to do, a seated forward fold, or to do a lunge and hold it with the intent of bringing relief to the area, and actually holding it for 2 minutes at a time, maybe 3 minutes, instead of just doing 10 or 15 seconds or maybe 20 seconds, but actually holding it for a significant amount of time to help improve recovery. And so that's something that I haven't noticed from other types of fitness that is so important to yoga. So, even just having that 10 minutes of stretching at the end of a workout, if you've done an hour of exercise, it's incredible how much that helps you recover more quickly and helps to prevent your risk of injury from overtraining. Because of the restorative aspects. I mean, it's incredible what that can do for your body. And I think that's reason number 7. That's the last reason I'm going to talk about today, why yoga is different from other workouts and why it's so important. Just because that you're actually taking care of your body, you're helping to do general body maintenance, which is something that we all need to do. We need to stretch our hamstrings more. We need to do passive stretches where we're just doing lazy stretches that aren't necessarily really fun. They're not super intense, but they help to maintain your body's health. They help you feel better. They help you recover from your other workouts, help you prevent injury. So it's something that we all need to be doing, but we don't. And so thank you, yoga, for showing me restorative stretching. Now it's something that I do on a daily basis. I do at least 10 to 15 minutes of stretching, of restorative stretching, no matter what. I do it at the end of the day if I'm feeling pretty sore, stiff, or I do it like when I'm walking my dogs. I'll do it when I'm just here in the office. I'm sitting on a medicine ball right now. Not a medicine ball, sorry, a Swiss ball, or a yoga ball, whatever you want to call it. And I can do stretching on this. I'm gonna work my way into a pigeon right now. I can actually do a pigeon on the ball, and I'll actually give my camera to Edward so he can show you. So, sorry about this. But I'm actually sitting on the ball and doing a pigeon right now. Right, so I can do a pigeon on the ball. I can kind of change this up, and I can even do like a little lunge on the ball. So I can sit on the ball here and then bring this other leg down. And you can do this on a chair as well. So I can do a lunge in this position. So there's lots of different things that I can do to help stretch, even if I'm not devoting my time particularly to that. So if I'm just sitting at a desk, thank you, Edward. So if I'm just sitting at a desk, Edward is our marketing manager. So if I'm just sitting at a desk or, doing something else, I can incorporate some restorative work into what I'm doing, and I can help my body recover. I can help it feel better, so I can avoid aches and pains and stuff like that. So the restorative aspect is huge. So just to recap, 7 things that I've listed here that make yoga different from other workouts. There's tons more. You know, we could talk about the mobility aspects. We could talk about you know, how it's somewhat of a, some people practice it obviously as a spiritual practice. We can talk about the attention on the spine work. But again, I've just listed 7, and those are balance, flexibility, body awareness or muscle control, also known as mobility, breathing, posture, back bending, and then restorative stretching. So those are my 7 biggest ones that I think are the biggest reasons why more people should be doing yoga, why men should be doing yoga. It's just a form of exercise. Yeah, more women do it than men, but that doesn't mean that men shouldn't be doing it. It's difficult sometimes because a lot of men will go to a yoga instructor that isn't familiar with teaching men, and he or she might assume, well, she would assume that men can do most of what a woman can do, or maybe she just doesn't have that perspective of what it feels like to be a guy in a yoga class. So it can be more uncomfortable for guys doing yoga, especially if they don't know how to do it. No guy wants to go do something that they don't know how to do in front of a group of predominantly women. So one of the reasons why I created Manful Yoga is so that guys can learn on their own. They don't have to go somewhere and potentially be embarrassed. You shouldn't be embarrassed because there's tons of people who at yoga studios who are new, and no one's going to laugh at you. It's just not that kind of environment. But if you do want to learn how to do things first before going out in public and doing them, that's one of the reasons why Manful Yoga was born, so that you can learn how to do yoga on your own time, on your own, on your own terms. And also to make sure that you're not going to a class that assumes that you already know how to do yoga and that you have tons of flexibility. So, anyways, so those are my 7 reasons. Let me just go through the comments, and I'll talk a little bit more about, let me see if there's any questions I want to ask. So somebody asked if I'm completely against Bikram due to extreme backbends. I'm against Bikram because of the I'm against Bikram because of the extreme pushing of Bikram. Bikram tells you to push, 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 and there's not a lot of emphasis on backing off or there's not a lot of emphasis on backing off or what to notice in your body or just protecting yourself. It's a very push, push, push type of workout, and for me, it was good because it helped me learn more about yoga, but there were also certain situations in it where I shouldn't have been pushing, where someone should have said, hey, you actually don't need to do that. You're good where you are, and you're going to hurt yourself if you keep pushing. And people get injured in Bikram because of that push, push, push mentality. So I don't like Bikram because of the mentality. It doesn't have modifications for people who aren't flexible. So I don't like it because of that reason. I also don't like doing the same workout over and over again, but if you like Bikram and that's your jam, keep doing it. Just make sure that you're protecting yourself and you're doing the exercises correctly and that you're keeping your core really tight in those back bends and especially in those forward bends too. A lot of people don't understand that most injuries that my girlfriend is a physical therapist, and the injuries that she sees from yoga are primarily from doing too many forward folds. So you wouldn't think about that, but one reason why people get injured from yoga is because they do forward folds without core engagement. So it's very important that when you're doing a forward fold, you keep the core tight and you stretch the hamstrings, and you're not trying to stretch the lower back. So, yeah. Again, we had the body-mind benching, and again, body-mind connection. That's one way to put it. The yoga community likes to talk about the mind-body connection. The way that I would describe that is just one aspect of mobility, and this is mobility as defined by Kelly Starrett of the Mobility WOD. And so one aspect of mobility is motor control, just being able to engage muscles, being able to use your brain to talk to certain muscles and say, hey, work, engage, turn on. Yes, the injury prevention aspect, absolutely. pelvic floor activation for the prostate. Yeah, a lot of people don't have that awareness in their core yet. So if you know, and one reason why yoga is awesome is because it helps you build a foundation of fitness. So the pelvic floor activation is something that is incredibly important for anybody working out, but it's something that you may not naturally do. So doing yoga helps you to activate that, helps you to develop that awareness of that pelvic floor activation, of that proper core engagement. All right, last question. Can you come to LA? Ulysses, I've been to LA a couple times, but it's and I think I've had a couple classes there, but I'll be doing some traveling and doing some yoga retreats possibly in the near future. Not in the near future, but in the future, definitely. But as far as location goes, I've been to LA. I want to go somewhere new, so I'll let you know when that happens. Make sure you like the page. Make sure you sign up for my email list to stay in contact with me. That's the best way. That's manflowyoga.com/sign-up. And then other stuff. If this makes you want to try out yoga, I have a total body 7-day program for beginners. You can sign up for that at knock over my microphone and my sunglasses.com at manflowyoga.com/total body program. And I'm typing that into the comments here. But it's free to sign up. It's a 7-day total body program. Teaches you how to do a bunch of different postures, and also talks about them in terms of how they relate to your physical fitness, and breaks them down into body parts. So one day is hips, one day is core, one day is spine. So you'll learn a lot in the process, and also get some exercises that you can use on a regular basis to get stronger. So again, that's manflowyoga.com/total-body-program. And if you want to see what I do, and you're intrigued by what I've been talking about, and you want to see the workouts, manflowyoga.com/7-day-trial. And that is where I put all of my Manflow Yoga workouts, my tutorials, my workout programs, and that's where you can really dive into this stuff and start getting stronger using yoga. So thanks for watching today. I've got to get going. I've got stuff to do. I've got a trip to plan. I'm going to San Francisco, and I've got lots of stuff I need to do. But anyways, thanks for joining me today. If you're watching us on Facebook, share it with a friend if you found it useful, or share it on your page or your profile page. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button, and leave a comment if you have a question or if you have feedback. So thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.